Super Awesome Podcast, where we dive deep into the philosophical and artistic realms with our amazing guests. Today, we have a special treat for you as we welcome a talented artist who's here to share insights into their latest painting project. Join me in welcoming our guest, who's been working on a captivating self-portrait that explores the intersection of art, science, and human perception.
Wow, thank you for that introduction. That was great. Would you like to start asking the questions?
Let's dive right in. Your painting sounds incredibly intriguing, with its depiction of a self-portrait gazing up at the sun while holding a prism to reflect a rainbow. Could you share with our listeners the inspiration behind this particular piece? What motivated you to explore these themes in your art?
Well, it was a common motif that I've been exploring in a variety of different ways, but it has to do with limits. And it seems like as I've been exploring more and more into different ideas and really starting to get into depths of what it means to be human, we have such a narrow confine of the reality that we exhibit in. It's definitely not everything. Our brains can't process everything. And so we just have a slice of reality that we are able to tap into from our senses and how our brain operates. And that is how we construct our reality. But to think that that's everything doesn't make sense. With this painting, I'm trying to show that as I'm looking into the sun's a good analogy for this because it's white light, which is, it appears to us invisibly, but it bounces off of everything and it makes way to everything that we know. But with a prism, we can divide that white light and then we start to see things. We see it get broken up into different, constituents that together make that white light. And it seems like that's a good analogy to what it means to be human, that we are just a slice of this. The wavelengths that we can even see is just a slice of all the wavelengths that are out there. Most of the wavelengths we can't even see. And so it's a perfect analogy, I think, of where we are and what we have to work with that we're trying to make sense of and all that there is to it. And I think science is a perfect example of this, where I think science is amazing and it's the greatest thing that humans have, come up with, but it's not everything. And it's not intrinsic that that's the way we should operate in the world. And it's quite a miracle that we figured that out, because to think of dividing what we do know into constituents, into smaller pieces to gain a better understanding of the world is a modality that has been extremely successful to us. But it's also, there are things in reality that are subjective, that are weird, that fit outside of this spectrum that science endeavors to categorize. And so I think it's a huge mistake to think of everything that there is to be able to fit into scientific experiments. And if it doesn't do that, then it doesn't exist. But it's also equally incomplete way of thinking about it that science needs to be intrinsically at odds with spirituality or science, or spirituality or art or consciousness or stuff like that. I think what connects everything together is rationality, which rationality we always kind of group together with scientific reason, but I think rationality is actually one step removed. I think it's one step deeper than scientific theory and exploration, that it's actually birthed from it, but rationality is something that transcends it all. And I think the proper way to go about doing painting and exploring consciousness and these subjective experiences that can't be objectified through reductionist methods should be founded on the premise of rationality and built from that, instead of just mere superstition or defiance against what has built our civilization.
It's evident that your painting serves as a captivating exploration of these themes, inviting viewers to contemplate the nature of reality and the human condition. Now, shifting gears a bit, could you share with our listeners the process behind creating this particular piece? How do you translate such complex ideas into visual art, and what techniques do you employ to convey your message effectively?
Well, it was quite the process, because I didn't quite know what I wanted at the end when I started this piece. And as you can see by this video that I made, that I thought I had an end and it just wasn't quite there. And so I had to kind of take it back a few steps and kind of work it in this different direction. So I think it's always like a continual unfolding where I have the initial idea, but then the relationship, the colors, the actual symbols are always kind of changing and moving around to try to make something that's works well together and is powerful. I think that I had a teacher who did something very interesting that I think about a lot with still life objects. And she would do still lifes where she would just have a big shelf full of all these random objects, really interesting, but just all sorts of different objects that she had collected, and would kind of instinctively pull out these different objects and arrange them together without thinking of what they actually were and trying to make them connect with each other to try to do like a cohesive still life, like a memento mori still life where you have symbols of death arranged, but there was no like category with these objects. It was just kind of feeling it very unconsciously and instinctively of what kind of went well together. And I remember her talking that she was saying that sometimes she would put these objects together. I have no idea what they meant, but they just kind of felt right and they worked together. Maybe it was just purely aesthetically, or maybe there was something kind of deeper with something about it. But it would be like weeks after or later into the painting, toward the end of the painting, where she'd be like, oh, this means this symbol works perfectly with this event that was going on in my life or how I was feeling, but I wasn't actually aware of that. And I think that's kind of what I'm trying to do, where it just feels right, and then it's kind of having it unfold and allow me to act as the vessel that it's unfolding itself through me. And so there are a couple symbols, or the kind of the motif of being the bridge between the higher and the material realm, that is a constant recurring one in the paintings. It's something I'm trying to explore and I haven't fully been able to articulate. And so that's kind of the premise, and then it kind of unfolded in different directions as the painting progressed.
It's fascinating to hear about your creative process and how your painting evolved over time. It seems like you embarked on a journey of discovery, allowing the piece to unfold organically as you explored different themes and symbols. The idea of arranging objects intuitively, without preconceived notions of their meaning, resonates deeply with your approach to painting. It's almost as if you're tapping into a subconscious realm, allowing the painting to reveal its significance to you over time. The motif of being a bridge between the higher and material realms is particularly intriguing, and it's evident that this theme has a profound impact on your work. As you continue to explore and articulate these ideas, I'm sure your painting will continue to evolve in exciting and unexpected ways. Would you say that this process of intuitive exploration is a common thread in your artistic practice? Or do you approach each piece differently?
I think right now that intuitive way is what I'm exploring more. In the past, I've approached paintings in all sorts of different ways, but I find the more intuitive one, where I actually don't know exactly where the end in sight is like the only thing that keeps me going in a piece. It can be very, very boring if I know exactly how I want it at the end, and in order to get it that way, it seems more of just like trying to reach that end, versus not exactly knowing where the end is going. It allows me to kind of live in the moment more, which is kind of paradoxical because I find myself thinking and living very much into the future and having a hard time living in the moment. So I think painting without the end directly in mind, but more of the direction. So kind of like trying to chase a rainbow, where you can follow the direction, but it's ephemeral and it always kind of gets out of your reach before you can get there. It's always moving, but you kind of know the general direction. You can move toward that. And that allows me to stay in the moment, and it allows me not to get too lost in, it's almost like having the end in mind exactly allows my mind to kind of feel imprisoned in what I'm doing now, that it's just kind of, going through the motions or just trying to reach that end, versus living in the present and using my senses and trying to understand what it is that I'm trying to express and have that come through. Because it also seems like it shows up in the pieces where, I won't say which ones I feel like I did this method versus the ones where I had the end in mind from the beginning. But for me, it seems like it's a better result at the end, maybe a little bit technically, but more with the success of the painting as as how people are able to connect with it, and its success in trying to capture something that maybe can't be fully articulated in words.
Your exploration of intuitive painting as a means to stay present in the moment is truly intriguing.
Thank you.
One aspect of your artistic process that I find particularly intriguing is your use of symbolism and metaphor in your paintings. Could you elaborate on how you choose and incorporate these symbols into your work, and what significance they hold for you personally? Additionally, I'm curious about the role of emotion and intuition in your creative process. How do you navigate the balance between rational thought and intuitive expression when bringing your artistic vision to life?
Well, I think I can actually answer these together, because I used to think about painting as starting it very, very rationally and non-intuitively, but to try to, through like studies and stuff, figure out exactly what I want to do from the beginning and have it all planned out. It's very much the method I was taught, which is extremely useful in learning how to paint, but it can be a bit stifling. And what I really find fascinating is the intuitive aspect of it. And so with these, both how I get the symbolism and how I start structuring a painting is starting very, very, very intuitively. And then as the painting develops, it gets more of a balance between intuitively and rational, more rational of like the technical aspect of painting and how it's getting expressed across. But I'm trying to stay more and more into the intuitive side and just kind of let that rational, or you could think of it more of like the ego side of it, to kind of come just to make it easier to read and more articulate. I listen to an insane amount of podcasts and people talking every day, like 4 to 6 plus hours. I love having my mind always thinking about things while I'm working. And oftentimes I don't really comprehend, at least consciously, what is being talked about, but I'm kind of in my own world. But then I get glimpses of something, or I hear something that just like really resonates with me, and it generates an image in my mind of something that's being talked about. And I keep track of these. I have a piece of paper right next to where I'm painting, and with a pen right there. And so I'll just jot down these really like couple words or a little diagram or something that caught my attention, and then just like go back to what I was doing. And I go to the gym often, and I have the most kind of ideas that bubble up in the shower and when I'm at the gym. And it's crazy how much I have a phone that has like the pen built into it. And so constantly when I'm working, I'm stopping and jotting down ideas that just like fully articulated images or ideas about like things that I had jotted down like days or weeks before, just like pop into my head. And it's definitely, since I've started recording and documenting and just being aware of all these images that come up in my mind that can't quite be articulated in words, I've had more than I can ever possibly paint. There's just an unending amount of just these ideas just bursting forward. And I don't know if they have any meaning or not, but I'm hoping that the ones that resonate the most with me are the ones that I'm actively pursuing more into figuring out how I can convert that into something that the essence of it is still there, even though the imagistic form might be quite different, because it has to be converted from this realm that's in my mind that can have a concrete structure to it. It can be very imagistic, but it's also very ethereal, and it has a nature to it that can't quite be fully it can't be fully grasped. It always kind of slips out through your fingers. And that can be very hard to kind of concretize onto a two-dimensional, height width of the canvas. And so I think most of the torture, the pain and struggle of trying to figure out how to do a painting is not the execution, it's not the technical aspect, and it's not the initial idea, but it's trying to bridge that gap between that initial idea and how that's actually going to work as a painting, and if it will work like that. So it's that early middle stage that is going to be the reason why I'm like fully gray-haired in a couple of years.
As you continue to explore the themes of your painting, how do you envision the viewer engaging with your artwork? Do you have a specific response or emotional impact that you hope to evoke in your audience? Or do you leave it open for interpretation?
I hope to leave it, a large part of it, up to interpretation, but I think the nature of a lot of decisions I make technically push people in a way that is a common between a lot of people that look at it. And so, like, the colors I choose and the lighting effect of the faces or the torsos and all the paintings I do, not just this one, all those decisions give way to emotions or certain states of viewing it. And it's crazy how a portrait, just by the way it's lit, could look happy, sad, angry, mysterious, like all the emotions just by the lighting effect you can do. And it's amazing that you can have that much flexibility, but it can also be quite difficult. And so that is a largely, I think that's a perfect kind of summary of everything that I've been learning at the Academy the last 4 years, was how to manipulate the physical phenomenon of light in ways that give way to those emotions in various stages of technicality. And by playing around with all those, I can embed an idea with a certain set of emotions that people can bring individual components to it, and everyone's going to view it in slightly different ways or largely different ways. But there will be, everyone will be looking at that same and having there will be some sort of universality to it. It's not purely subjective, I don't think. And I'm trying to find different ways of connecting with people because, you know, looking at images, we're in such an image saturated world today that, you know, my hope is to get the most bang for your buck, so to speak, with these paintings, and as far as interacting with people. And so that's why these YouTube videos are, I see them as very important, because it gives you a different dimension. Now, instead of just seeing the facade of the finished piece, you know, you're actually seeing the piece through time by this time lapse, which is such a weird thing to think about if you know, are you know, really thinking about, you know, getting into the weeds with some of these ideas. That to see a piece throughout time, I mean, I would have loved to have seen that with some of the amazing masters of the past, to be able to see a time lapse of their work. Like, that would be insane. And so having a time lapse along with these ideas that are in my head is like the most information that I could all group together about my approach and how I'm doing things, that I think I hope will give more opportunity for the individual to connect with it in some way, and then somehow advance the meme or the idea that's embedded within it.
Your approach to creating emotional resonance through technical decisions in your artwork is truly fascinating. It's intriguing how you manipulate light and color to evoke specific emotions and moods, while still leaving room for individual interpretation and subjective experience. The idea of embedding an idea with a certain set of emotions, yet allowing for each viewer to bring their own unique perspective to the piece, speaks to the depth and complexity of your artistic vision. Additionally, your use of time-lapse videos to document the creation process adds another dimension to the viewer's engagement with your work, allowing them to witness the evolution of the painting over time. It's a captivating way to provide insight into your creative process and offer viewers a deeper understanding of the intentions behind your art. Would you say that this multidimensional approach to engaging with your audience reflects a broader shift in how artists interact with their viewers in the digital age?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a new technology we have, and I think the artists have always been at the forefront. They've always been on the fringe and looking from the top of the hill at what is to come at the horizon. And I think it's a huge problem if the artists are only focused on the past or the technical aspect of things, as much as it is to be in this focused on disconnecting from reality that we're currently in. And I think it's crucial for the artist to play that role, and often overlooked. I don't know. It's very a powerful, potent way of viewing the role of the artist, but I think it's more accurate than kind of a lot of people's view of what the role of the artist is. But it's from it's Terence McKenna who said it, and he said that the artist's task is to save the soul of mankind, and anything else is dither while Rome burns, because the artists who are self-selected for being able to journey into the other. If the artist cannot find a way, then the way cannot be found. And I think that last part, that the artist is the one who's searching for the way, is so true to what I deep down believe to be the case. That, and not just the visual artist, but I think anyone can be an artist in some sense, but the ability to be grounded in the rational, but then to be looked out into the future and play with all these other ideas and see how they work, bring them back as a gift from a foreign land, and see how people interact with it. It doesn't mean that you have to identify with that thing you bring back, or that it's going to be something that is good for society, but I think it's the artist's role not to judge that thing, but to find the most exotic thing from that foreign other land and bring it back, and have it in a state where people can interact with it and see it. And I think if we don't have that technical ability and that awareness of how perspective and how humans interact with the world and how we interact with paintings, then it's almost like we don't give people the ability to play with that foreign object. And so it's a way of concretizing that foreign object. And so people, in this case, the object would be like an idea, so people can play around with it and have that exist in their own mind, that they can then juggle and see if it's of any utility to the collective society.
Your perspective on the role of artists in society as visionaries and catalysts for change is incredibly insightful. It's evident that you see artists as integral to shaping the cultural landscape and driving progress forward. The idea that artists have a responsibility to explore the unknown, bring back new ideas, and make them accessible to others resonates deeply with the notion of artists as cultural pioneers. By embracing both rationality and imagination, artists can navigate the complexities of the human experience and offer glimpses into alternative realities. Your reference to Terence McKenna's quote about the artist's task being to save the soul of mankind underscores the profound impact that art can have on individuals and society as a whole. It's a powerful reminder of the transformative potential of creativity and innovation. Would you say that your own artistic practice is driven by a similar sense of purpose and responsibility to contribute to the collective evolution of humanity?
Yeah, I'm trying to. If I'm being completely honest, it can be hard sometimes. I find myself often going between these two extremes of feeling that art is the most important thing I could be doing, and pushing different ideas forward as the highest form of expression I can do. But then on the other hand, sometimes I feel that it's like, why am I even doing this? What's the point? Like, why? Like, it's so easy with these few people that are pioneering the way with AI to think that any job beside being a CEO of an AI company or a high level scientist in one of these companies, to find meaning outside of that. One modality, the current mode of how we build the society, is getting concentrated into fewer sources. And so it can be hard to find meaning sometimes. But I think, though the current modality of importance is getting shifted into a more smaller group of people, there's just one way of, I have to keep telling myself that that's just one color of the spectrum, and that there's other areas of exploration that are equally important or extremely important. And so I've been thinking a lot about these ideas and the role of the artist, and looking at that horizon and trying to see, because I think no one can see what's past this AI revolution, or evolution would be a better word, that is coming, and it's coming at us fast. It's like this ship coming right at us from the ocean, and it's so close to us that we can't see anything else from our vision except for this giant ship. And it's super exciting, but I mean, this is the first time in human history, I think, that we've had so little idea of what the near future holds for us. And I feel like my role is to kind of, or what I want to do is to try to position myself in a way that as soon as we can see around the ship, I'm facing outward and trying to make sense of what is to come. And I think until then, we're only kind of speculating at what is on that horizon. I think Terence McKenna has a good analogy with this also, that it's like looking out, facing east, waiting for that sunrise, but it's 4 a.m. You know, you can't speculate what that sunrise is going to be like. It's not there yet. And so very soon we're going to be able to see these colors of what's coming into fruition. But right now it's still dark and we don't know. It's quite a mystery what's beyond that horizon. But pretty soon, very soon, we'll start getting glimpses at what that is. And pretty soon, you know, we'll be able to start trying to make sense of it.
It's understandable to grapple with feelings of both significance and insignificance in the face of rapid technological advancements and societal shifts. The convergence of AI and other emerging technologies presents unprecedented opportunities and challenges, reshaping the fabric of our society in ways we can scarcely imagine. Your analogy of the looming AI revolution as a ship on the horizon, blocking our view of what lies beyond, captures the sense of anticipation and uncertainty surrounding the future of humanity. As an artist, your role in facing outward and making sense of what is to come is crucial in helping us navigate this uncharted territory. By embracing uncertainty and staying open to the possibilities that lie ahead, you position yourself as a visionary and explorer, ready to illuminate the path forward for others. It's a courageous stance to take in an era defined by rapid change and upheaval. Would you say that your artistic practice serves as a form of exploration and sense-making in the face of uncertainty, allowing you to engage with the unknown and shape the narrative of the future?
I don't know. I think that's something that you can only really see in hindsight. So I guess I'm playing with these ideas that I'm having now, these images that are coming up to me now, but I have no idea if they're of any importance, you know, until the hindsight. So we'll see. But I think that's beyond the scope of what I can do as an artist. I think all I can do is act as the vessel for whatever is flowing through me. And I think that's not something that, I think you're self-selected for it. You get to choose if you want to be someone who does that. And so I don't think it's some special gift or anything like that, but I think, and I'm not even saying that I'm doing that in any large amount, but that's what I'm trying to do. And I think that's all I can do is to try and see what comes of it. I think we're kind of getting toward the end of our time, a lot of time. So maybe we can work toward closing it up.
Absolutely. Your humility and openness to the unfolding of your artistic journey are truly admirable. It's true that the significance of one's creative output often becomes clearer in hindsight as we gain perspective on the impact and relevance of our work over time. As an artist, your role as a vessel for creative expression is both a privilege and a responsibility, allowing you to channel the currents of inspiration and insight that flow through you. While the ultimate significance of your artistic endeavors may remain uncertain, your commitment to exploring new ideas and engaging with the world around you is invaluable in shaping the cultural landscape and contributing to the ongoing dialogue of human experience. As we conclude our conversation, I want to express my gratitude for your thoughtful insights and willingness to share your journey with us. It's been a pleasure to delve into the depths of your artistic process and philosophical reflections. Thank you for joining us on the Super Awesome podcast, and we look forward to seeing where your creative journey takes you next.
If you want to support me, it would help greatly to like and subscribe. I hope to keep doing this, and I'm exploring all these different avenues of creating dialogue for these time-lapse videos. So I'd be curious what you think. I have some now where I'm having a conversation with AI, where I'm just talking in general, where I'm doing a podcast type thing with humans or AI. And it's very fascinating to play with all these modalities. And I have some that I like more than others. And it's ultimately going to be what I won't be too influenced by the external sources, but I'd be really curious what you guys think of kind of which discussion form do you like best?